Once upon a time, the BMW X5 had a baby, and the X3 was born. Smaller, lighter, more performance-oriented, and better on fuel.
Then the X3 had a baby, and this is its offspring. It's the all-new X1. Smaller, excellent performance, and better fuel economy than the X3.
BMW's been very clever opening up new categories. One of the very first mid-size luxury crossovers with the X5, the very first compact luxury crossover with the X3, and now they've opened up a whole new category with the X1.
Zach and I are going to run through the highlights of both of these vehicles, and then when we're finished, you can see for yourself if a compact BMW crossover would be right for your family.
Now, I'm going to start with the BMW X3. It's bigger than the outgoing model. In fact, the interior space is almost as big as the original X5. It's longer, taller, and wider than the older model, and by grafting the styling from the larger X5 onto its offspring, it looks more cohesive. The front end is deeper with more aggressive air intakes, and the hood is more sculpted. The rear lights are more substantial, as is the lower valance, making the X3 look rounded.
The X1, on the other hand, is based on the 3 Series wagon platform, and it has a bit of a wagon look in comparison to the X3. BMW has tried to make the X1 look a bit more macho, but from some angles, it still looks a bit awkward. The steep front grille and bumper make the front look heavy, and the back looks most like a wagon. A couple advantages over the 3 Series wagon. You've got a little higher roofline, so the windows are bigger. You've got a slightly higher ride height, so you have better outward visibility. The 3 Series wagon also had a fair bit of cargo area, but this little X1 has a decent amount of cargo space as well. The back hatch is a bit on the heavy side to close, so if you are in the market to buy one, make sure you try it out first.
Now, because this X3 is larger, you obviously get more cargo space. The back is very useful. It's actually bigger than one of the main rivals, the Mercedes GLK. Now, the load height is higher off the ground than the BMW X1, but one advantage, if you spend the extra money, it's an option, but worth it, is a power liftgate.
The X3 starts at $41,900 for the base model. That's just $3,400 more than the X1. The X3 we have here is the top model called the X3 35i, and it starts at $46,900.
Now, keep in mind, those base prices we quoted you do not include extra options packages, which typically you have to add on to make your BMW just the way you like. So that's just the starting point. But keep this in mind, an X1 fully loaded is still cheaper than a BMW 3 Series wagon with all-wheel drive, the vehicle it's based on.
The inside of the X1 is very similar to the 3 Series with high-quality materials, but a rather simple design. There's no room for a second cup holder in the console, so they have one that clips onto the side here, a bit cheap looking.
Now, this X3 interior is also based on the 3 Series, but it's a little bit wider. The benefit for that is that you get 2 full-size cup holders in the center console, nothing added on the side, and it feels more open and airy. And for people that like to sit up a little bit higher, the X3 definitely gives you a better view down the road. The X3, on the other hand, offers much more backseat room. In fact, this space is very comfortable. So if backseat room is important, the X3 has the obvious advantage.
Zach, both these crossovers have some similarities and some styling differences, but they both offer a great entry point into the BMW brand.
What makes them unique is how they get the power down to the ground. So stay tuned. After the break, we'll take both the X1 and the X3 out on the open road.